everybody. So today's Wednesday and it's time to talk about our next in our Disney Canon rewatch. And today we are looking at the 1967 Disney classic, their 19th film, The Jungle Book. And this has obviously come to light because of the recent live action reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it, that has been a huge hit. And I reviewed that film on my channel. I'll put a link in the description section if you want to check out that review. I did enjoy it. I gave it a B+, and it does improve upon some things that this film is weak at, but they're pretty different, so I think you can enjoy both and not have a problem. So that is kind of nice in that way. So let's talk about the animated Jungle Book and sort of its strengths and maybe some of its weaknesses. So what is really interesting, I think, about this story is that Walt had been less invested in the previous two films. He hadn't been that invested in 101 Dalmatians, and he hadn't been that invested in Sword and Stone. And so he decided, because he wasn't really that happy with Sword and the Stone, to become invested again in the story department. And he got Bill Peet, one of his big animators and story writers, to be involved in writing this story. And he told them to not read the book, to not worry about the book. He had the characters, he had an idea of what he wanted to do with them, and he didn't want to feel curtailed and tied down to the book. And what is really interesting about that is that it's pretty revolutionary, actually. I mean, how many different adaptations do you have where there are that sort of free in their adaptation, and they just decided, we're going to make our own thing, and we are going to do it our way, and we're not going to worry about the book. And so that's pretty cool. And so that's what they did. And I think they did some really interesting stuff that they added. They added King Louie, who's not in the book. They have the monkeys that are in the book, and the book is really a whole bunch of sort of short stories more than it is a sort of narrative. And you get that feel a little bit in the movie, but it is a little bit, I think, more of a narrative than in the book. And it's obviously way lighter, completely different. So if you're a huge fan of the book, then a lot of times you don't really like the movie, the animated film, because it's just this bebopping, dancing, whatever adventure, and here you've got this kind of serious book. So they created King Louie, and they created the girl at the end. Neither of those are in the book. And they obviously added all of this music and
friends are for, and when you're lost in dire need, who's at your side at lightning speed? We're friends with every creature coming down the pike. In fact, we've never met an animal we didn't like.
You take it, kid.
Didn't like.
Even the character Blue in the book is more sort of somber, and he is free-spirited in a way, but not to the extent of in this movie. And so what you get, what I think makes this film work so well, is that it's very tightly edited. You have very little space in between the songs, and the songs are so good. I love the songs. And I think whereas in the new version, I didn't think the songs really worked that well because they felt sort of out of place, whereas this has a consistent tone throughout the movie. And so the songs work for me throughout the film.
Bare necessities of life will come to you.
But when?
They'll come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.
Here's a military goal. Here's a military goal. Up, 2, 3, 4, dress it up. 2, 3, 4, by the ranks or single file. Over every jungle mile. Always stand and crush through the underbrush.
And so if you're not that into these songs, then it's really not that good of a movie. But if you like the songs, then I think it really works, and there's just no sort of space in between the songs. And the other thing I think that makes it work really well is the great voice casting that they got that are so iconic. You have Phil Harris as Baloo, so great. Sebastian Cabot as Bagheera. Louis Prima as King Louis. George Sanders as Shere Khan. Things that other people don't like, I like. I like the vultures. I think they're really fun. I like the elephants. I think they're really fun. I really like a lot of the stuff that other people are like, oh, it's super lame. I like it. And the only part I really don't like about the Jungle Book is the ending. And the ending is really, I don't know, just lame. Narrative-wise, it doesn't really work because you've just seen Baloo almost die for Mowgli. You've seen him make this big sacrifice, and then they have the Disney instant love. Mowgli looks at the girl. She sings her song about getting water her entire life, which I'm not a big fan of, and he's just hypnotized. And
Fetch the water, I'll be cooking in the home. Then I'll send her to fetch the water. I'll be cooking in my home.
really like that. I don't think that's a good message. I don't think it's it just bugs me. I don't like the ending. I think it's a huge strike in the film. But other than that, I just think it's a really joyous experience. I love the bare necessities. I love I Want to Be Like You. I really think it's great. What's interesting is I watched this film with some young girls that I was babysitting for. I was helping their mom. And it was interesting because we watched Frozen, we watched Winnie the Pooh, loved those, but they were not interested in Jungle Book at all. And so I'm definitely willing to admit that there is some nostalgia in this because it is one that I really loved watching as a kid, and it's one I watched it with my family. And that's one thing I think was a loss in the new version, is that I don't feel like it's a family film. It's not one you can take a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old or a little child to. It's too scary. And so this is a movie you can watch with your whole family, and so in that way I think it is better than the new version. So and I will give this an A-. I really do like it a lot. I think it's super entertaining. I wish it didn't have that ending, and I admit it that it's really just good because of the tightly edited songs and the likable characters' voice casting, but that's a lot to like, so there you go. And it is the last film that Disney really worked on. He was a little bit in Aristocats, but of course he died just months before this film was released. So it's the end of an era for Disney, and it's some rough times coming up. So it should be interesting. So let me know what you think of the animated Jungle Book and put in the comment section. And thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.